A massive crab crawls across the riverbed, its armored shell reflecting filtered sunlight through murky water. This is one of the Amazon's most heavily defended creatures. But it's being watched. 20 piranhas circle in the shadows above. They've detected movement, they've detected opportunity. What happens when nature's most famous pack hunters encounter a fortress on legs? The crab is a giant river crab, nearly 8 inches across its carapace. In these flooded forest waters of the Amazon basin, it's built for survival. Thick exoskeleton covers every surface. 2 massive pincers act as both weapons and tools. Each one can crush through snail shells and slice through plant stems with equal ease. But the crab has a problem. It's molting season. Over the past 3 days, this crab has been preparing to shed its old shell. The exoskeleton has loosened. Calcium has been reabsorbed into its body, weakening the armor from the inside. In a few hours, it will split open and crawl out, soft and vulnerable. And the piranhas don't know this. Not yet. They're red-bellied piranhas, the most common species in these waters. Each one measures 6 to 8 inches long. Individually, they're cautious, skittish even. But in a group, behavior changes. The lead piranha approaches. It darts forward, testing. The crab doesn't move. The fish gets closer, inspecting the armored shell with quick, jerking movements. Then the crab reacts. One pincer sweeps through the water in a wide arc. The piranha retreats instantly, rejoining the group. No contact was made, but the message is clear. This prey fights back. For the next several minutes, nothing happens. The piranhas maintain their distance, circling slowly. The crab continues its path across the riverbed, moving toward a tangle of submerged roots. If it can reach cover, it can hide during the vulnerable molting process. But movement attracts attention. A second piranha breaks formation and rushes in from behind. Its jaws open, revealing the interlocking triangular teeth that give this species its reputation. It targets the crab's leg joint, a gap in the armor where the exoskeleton bends. The bite connects. The piranha tears away a small piece of tissue before the crab can turn. By the time the pincers swing around, the attacker has already retreated. Blood enters the water. Microscopic particles spread in the current. The effect on the school is immediate. Piranhas possess some of the most sensitive chemoreceptors in freshwater ecosystems. They can detect blood concentrations as low as 1 part per 2 million. Every fish in the group registers the signal simultaneously. The circling tightens. The school compresses into a smaller radius around the crab. The crab stops moving. It drops into a defensive posture, pulling its legs tight against its body and raising both pincers outward. This position minimizes exposed joints and maximizes defensive coverage. It's a response shaped by millions of years of predation pressure. For a moment, it works. The piranhas approach in rapid bursts, but veer away when the pincers track their movement. The crab's reaction time is fast enough to deter solo attacks, but piranhas don't hunt alone. 3 fish attack simultaneously from different angles. The crab can only defend one direction at a time. While the pincers swing, left to block 2 attackers, the third strikes from the right. Another piece of leg tissue is torn away. The pattern repeats. 4 fish, then 5. Each wave comes from multiple directions, forcing the crab to choose which threat to address. Each choice leaves another angle exposed. The crab begins to move again, faster now. The root tangle is less than 2 meters away. But speed costs protection. Legs must extend to create movement, exposing the very joints the piranhas target. The attacks intensify. Blood concentration in the water increases. More piranhas commit to the assault, abandoning their cautious observation. One piranha clamps onto a rear leg and doesn't let go. It shakes its head violently, using body weight to amplify jaw force. The crab spins, trying to dislodge the attacker or bring it within reach of the pincers. But while it's focused on that single threat, 4 more piranhas strike simultaneously. They target the same rear leg from different angles. The combined force is too much. The limb tears, partially free, hanging by connective tissue. The crab is now moving in an awkward circle, unable to coordinate locomotion properly. The school recognizes the weakness. 15 piranhas are now actively engaged, while the remaining 5 circle at a distance, waiting for clear opportunities. The water has become clouded with sediment kicked up from the struggle. The crab reaches the root tangle and wedges itself into a gap between 2 thick branches. The position provides cover from above and both sides. Only the front remains exposed, and both pincers guard that direction. For nearly 3 minutes, the attack stalls. Piranhas approach the defended front and retreat. The root structure prevents the multi-directional assaults that were working moments ago. Then, one piranha finds the gap. It's a narrow space beneath the crab's body, where the abdomen doesn't quite touch the riverbed. The fish is small enough to slip through. Once underneath, it attacks the soft abdominal plates, the least protected part of the crab's anatomy. The crab lurches upward, trying to crush the attacker against the roots above, but the movement creates more space. 2 more piranhas push through the gap. The crab has no defense against attacks from below. The pincers can't reach. The legs can't provide leverage in the confined space. It makes a decision shaped by evolutionary programming. It abandons the shelter and moves back into open water. Better to face attacks from multiple directions than to be trapped with enemies beneath its body. But the school has grown. The original 20 piranhas have been joined by others, drawn by the blood gradient spreading downstream. Now there are 30, maybe 40 fish in the immediate area. The crab manages 3 more steps before the next coordinated assault. This time, 8 piranhas attack together. The damaged rear leg is torn completely free. 2 front legs are severely compromised. The crab's mobility is now critically reduced. It can still defend with the pincers, and it does. 1 piranha gets too close and is caught in the crushing grip of the right pincer. The crab's force is powerful enough to break through the fish's skull. The piranha stops moving. But this small victory costs time and positioning. While the crab is focused on killing 1 attacker, the rest of the school exploits the static target. The assault becomes chaotic. Dozens of piranhas strike in rapid succession, each removing small pieces of tissue. The crab spins and strikes, but for every piranha it repels, 3 more find openings. The battle lasts another 4 minutes. But the outcome was determined much earlier, the moment the crab left the root shelter. Eventually the crab stops moving. The pincers stop tracking. The piranhas continue feeding, now without resistance. Within 20 minutes, little remains except the carapace and large pincer sections that are too heavily calcified to efficiently process. The school disperses gradually. Some piranhas remain near the shell fragments, searching for any remaining tissue. Others drift away, satisfied and metabolically engaged in digestion. The dead piranha, crushed by the crab's final defensive strike, settles onto the riverbed nearby. By tomorrow, it too will be gone, consumed by the same ecosystem that produced it. This interaction reveals something fundamental about predation in aquatic ecosystems. Armor is effective, but not absolute. The crab's exoskeleton could deflect individual attacks indefinitely. But piranhas don't operate individually. Group hunting isn't about overpowering prey through strength. It's about creating simultaneous threats that exceeds the prey's ability to respond. Each individual piranha is relatively weak, but 20 coordinated attacks force the defender to make choices. Every choice leaves something exposed. The crab's defensive strategy worked perfectly against solo predators. Crabs with intact armor regularly repel single piranhas, caimans, even river otters. The problem was scale. The defensive programming hadn't evolved for this specific scenario. Multiple small attackers with the sensory ability to coordinate without communication. There's another factor: the molting cycle. Had this encounter occurred 2 weeks earlier or 2 weeks later, when the exoskeleton was at full calcium density, the outcome might have been different. The weakened shell allowed the initial injuries that triggered the feeding frenzy. Timing matters in nature. The difference between survival and consumption can come down to a few hours, a few days. The period when an animal is most vulnerable often coincides with the period it's most active, most visible, most likely to encounter predators. Evolution doesn't eliminate vulnerability, it minimizes exposure. The crab was following its biological programming, moving towards shelter while preparing to molt. Under normal circumstances, this strategy works. But normal circumstances don't account for every variable. The river continues to flow. The flood cycle continues. Somewhere upstream, another giant crab moves through the shallows, its armor intact, its pincers ready. Somewhere downstream, another school of piranha circled slowly, waiting for the next chemical signal in the current. Neither species dominates these waters. Both exist in a balance maintained by selective pressure, environmental constraints, and the simple mathematics of energy transfer. The piranhas gained nutrients. The crab's genetic line continues through siblings that avoided this particular stretch of river during this particular week. This is how ecosystems maintain equilibrium. Not through individual victories, but through statistical distributions of outcomes across thousands of interactions. Sometimes the armor works. Sometimes the coordination works. The species that persist are the ones that succeed often enough to reproduce before they become someone else's nutrition. In the Amazon basin, this scene plays out daily. Different actors, different locations, different outcomes, but the fundamental pressures remain constant. Defend or be consumed, coordinate or fail, adapt or disappear. The giant river crab's shell remains on the riverbed, a calcium monument to a single interaction in an ecosystem that measures success across generations, not individuals. And in these waters, that's the only measurement that matters.